Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Comic Book Fiend Club presents the Fiendcast. I'm Mike, aka I Got This, joined by my brother.
Yo, it
James.
is James, aka the Comic Raider, back again for now, as long as my internet holds up.
Yeah, well, it's been a while. I mean, we haven't had a regular Fiendcast in quite some time, and the last drunk cast was useless except for a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. Your typical shit show.
yeah, right. But obviously, we're coming in with a whole shit ton to talk about after today being the last day of San Diego Comic-Con International. And obviously, we all know that there's a lot of big news coming out of all the panels that happened over the past few days, specifically yesterday. But before we hop into any of that, I just wanted to say that if you haven't already, please go subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook at Comic Book Fiend Club, and give us a shout. Check us out. Yeah, thanks. So first, obviously, there's a whole bunch of trailers released. And there's, the last It trailer was released. You had Top Gun, Terminator. For me, the big thing that stole the show was the Watchmen trailer. Did you watch that?
Yeah, so that one I checked out, and I will say, so do we know, is this prequel? As far as in regards to like the movie and story and all that.
I got to imagine it's afterwards.
Because I saw that they had, Manhattan. There were kids playing with like a pinata or something of that.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
the Rorschach gang.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess it could be before. There seems to be like an army of Rorschachs, and I mean, all the big names are from, there's Easter eggs for all like the big characters from Watchmen.
Right.
But I'm really not sure. I thought it came after the original book, the original graphic novel. But I could be wrong.
Or unless it's in between.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Who knows? But I don't remember any of the stuff that I saw there from any of the books I've read. So
yeah, see, and I only read. I'm only familiar with the main story and then the movie. I know that they did that whole, what was it, Before Watchmen series?
Before Watchmen.
I never read any of that type of stuff. But maybe that's what this is. I don't know. We'll see. But it did look good, though. Either way, it definitely looked good. I recognized, quite a few of the big name actors in there, and HBO should be good. That means I got to sign up for fucking HBO now. Just another streaming service that we'll probably get into later about how many we're going to be signed up for the next year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so, well, that being said, yeah, with HBO, you have that whole HBO Max thing coming now with Warner Brothers and all these different shows, so who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so obviously outside of that, there's a bunch of other trailers. To me, nothing that really caught my eye.
I think it would probably be the one I'm like,
oh yeah.
Oh man, that looks so good.
Yeah,
I'll probably not watch any more because I want it to be like, and I only watched it once, and then I'll probably just only see it that one time, because they showed all different kinds of like really quick hits, quick little clips of stuff, and it's like, no, I can't give too much away. I saw it, and that's good. I don't want to watch any more, and I'll probably just leave it at that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I'm just gonna. That's what I usually do with, unless it's something I don't really care about. But
yeah, and the cast is big, and I know. I don't know if we could say that it's credited to Fancast, but like this is one of those movies where those fan casts like really were pretty legit. Seeing Jessica Chastain as as her now older, and then James McAvoy was one I saw popping up very, very early on, and they got him and then Bill Hader. Like those are the three that I remember people like had them in their fan cast over and over and over, and then now they're in it. And I was like, that's pretty damn cool. That's to come up with that, and then it actually gets followed, and so that one's big. And then that other kid, and then a lot of the characters look exactly how they would as adults, and so I think it's pretty spot on casting. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it looks good. It definitely looks dope. I'm definitely stoked about it. So.
And then Terminator for me is just kind of eh.
I don't really care at all about any of them. I haven't seen the last two. I
didn't either.
The only reason I saw any of the other past like Terminator 1 and 2 is because they were on
I think
TV.
3 was I think 3 was the last one I saw, and I couldn't tell you anything about it. But
yeah.
I know I didn't see that Christian Bale one or
none of that. Yeah.
Nobody
got time for that. Too much around.
Yeah, exactly.
So outside of that, obviously the real big news was the Hall H panel on Saturday with Marvel, and them announcing the Phase 4, and a lot of interesting things. I think overall, I would say most of it is not surprising, but I think I was surprised to see them give away as much as they did. I don't know. What's your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, I think a lot of it was stuff we saw coming. We knew that they were going to have the shows mixed in with some movies. I think to get movies and titles and details about them, I think that was kind of the surprising part for me. And then I know we were talking about it in the chat, and of course, as it went on, I personally wasn't like too excited. And then it definitely got better towards the end with what they started announcing. I think for me, this is going to be that phase, which is fine. But for me, this is going to be that phase where I don't know a lot of these characters. So these are characters and stories that I'm not really familiar with. The Shang-Chi and the Eternals and all that. These are characters I know nothing about. But at the same time, I didn't know anything about Guardians before that movie came out. Yeah, right. And that's like, so, I mean, this is going to be, I think, for me, the big test of if they do it right, then I'll love it. And, because it's going to be, can they introduce me to people I don't know and make me, love them just like I love all the other stories and characters and everything. Yeah, right.
I think one thing I totally agree with that. I think when you look at the first, the whole first 3 phases, there's a ton of characters that nobody really knew at first. I mean, Iron Man was never popular. Everybody knows that. But I think the other thing is like everybody, there's a lot of movies that were just announced. Well, I mean, but I saw a lot of backlash about people like saying like, where's Black Panther 2? Where's Guardians 3? Where's all this other stuff? And it's like, we've got like 3 phases before we get to like what we just came off of, like this is just the first phase. They're rebooting the whole thing. They're bringing new characters. They're trying to focus all their attention to these new characters, like you said. So like they can grab people who have no idea who the Eternals are, no idea who, Shang-Chi is or anyone else, and build that. And then you're going to have all the, the powerhouses that we already know come back in. That's my opinion. That's what I think. But
and I mean, now that I'm looking at the map here of Phase 4, and it's all everything that got announced so far, with the exception of like the big announcement, is Thor, for example, is November 5th of 2021. So basically, all they gave us was the next year. Because, I mean, 2019 is kind of almost over, and we're not getting anything until 2020. So we have a few things in 2020, and then 2021 is everything. I mean, Shang-Chi starts it off, WandaVision TV show, Doctor Strange, the Loki show, the What If show, the Hawkeye show, and then Thor. So we're going to get 3 movies in 2021 and the TV shows. So, I mean, 2021's packed. And so everything else that everyone wanted, like you said, the Black Panther and all that kind of stuff. Number one, he's just writing the script for that right now.
Yeah, right.
So,
All this
I
stuff
mean,
is
that's 2022, 23. You know, we got a couple years.
yeah. I think what people don't realize is a lot of this stuff is already like in some phase of production. You know, like
Yeah.
the scripts are done, casting's all done. At least you know there's a lot of stuff already done in these movies. I think some of those other movies. No, I think that's what one thing they've always done well is they allow the directors to write, their movie as it fits into the cinematic universe, and as
Yeah.
long as they continue doing that, it'll be great to see how Black Panther comes out after all these movies. Like, I mean, the reality. Let's think of it. The reality is they announced what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they announced 5 TV shows. So 5 movies, but in a single year. So that's or a single
year and a half. It's about a year and a half.
Year and a half. Yeah, year and a half. So that's pretty expansive. You got a lot of new characters coming and a lot of new ideas. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited for it.
And we're gonna miss it because I mean, so we got Spider-Man just came out, and again, unless I'm missing something, we have nothing until Black Widow, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's it. And Black Widow is May 1st.
There's nothing. So
almost a year. We're closer to a whole year away from getting anything. We're gonna be craving for Black Widow by the time that shit comes out.
And I think that's smart for them. You're gonna have some, there's gonna be some Star Wars stuff coming out, so that's gonna eat up a lot of the time and space for Disney. But also, it's like I think the Russo brothers pretty much came out being like, it's gonna be at least a year before you get anything after Endgame. I think they said that like even before Endgame came out, but I think it's smart. Step away, let everyone kind of, I mean, in 1 year we had, Infinity War and Endgame. They were only a year apart, so that's a lot. It's a lot to process.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So why don't we just, why don't we
run through them?
Run through them real quick. Yeah, sure. So we'll do it chronologically instead of the way they announced it. They were very obviously they put on a big show last night when they started announcing the big first one was the Eternals, but the first movie coming out is Black Widow, and apparently there's a bunch of live footage shown there. I was able to come through and see a few still shots from like people's Twitter accounts but I didn't see anything too big. But Taskmaster, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a big one. That's the big one for me. I mean, that's definitely I'm a fan of really, really cool badass villains. So I've got a few of his book, and that's gonna be for me him seeing, as long as he's done right, which Marvel's definitely gotten better at villains as the years have gone on. So I'll have faith in them now that they'll do it right, and that'll be badass to see the two of them fight. Getting the kind of the confirmation that it's after Civil War, unless my sources are wrong, but I believe it's after Civil War. But I'm sure we're gonna get flashbacks because I know that they talk about introducing certain characters. And then we also got Red Guardian, right?
Yeah, Red Guardian. A Russian super spy.
Yeah, so he'll be there. And so yeah, no, that's definitely exciting. And then I'll throw my fan. I don't know if I discussed this on the Drunk Cast because I don't remember any of it, but I've been talking to a lot of people about X-Men, and I know that he made his little thing about the X-Men, and that I thought it would have been kind of cool to have Omega Red kind of get introduced some way somehow, just for the Russian ties and everything that this movie will have, and then it would be kind of like a seamless, not very cheesy way to bring in X-Men. But I don't think that X-Men are in the plans for quite some time, so I don't really think that that'll happen. But I know that early on that was kind of my little, that would be really cool if they did this.
Yeah, and I mean, so let's so obviously we know at the end they teased that they said that we will get mutants, we will get something, right? So we know that they're gonna start to sprinkle this stuff in, and it's gonna take a while before we see the Fantastic Four or mutants like in a team on in their own movie. But yeah, that's coming, and I would have loved to seen Omega Red come up there because I have a bunch of copies of X-Men 4, but so I'll still wait on that. I'm still hold those. But obviously, this has been a huge part. People have been talking about Taskmaster and Yelena Belova for a while, and there was some stuff, some pictures released or whatever. But I'm just stoked. I hope he sticks around. He is an awesome villain. There's some great pictures floating around there from San Diego of him, standing there, artist rendering of him fighting Black Widow, holding his sword and his shield. So, God, he's a great villain, and of course, Red Guardian. I don't know too much about. But that's really Avengers.
I have his Marvel Legends. I know he has a shield.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It comes in an Avengers book.
You got the Marvel Legends. Yeah. All right. So the only other thing is, I did read a lot of comments about this, and a lot of people said that the footage was like super, like gritty, like hardcore, like a lot of hand-to-hand combat, very reminiscent of like Winter Soldier, which. For me, I mean, if we get another, I want it. I want that spy thriller, like that James Bondish, just over the top, just mega blockbuster thriller with tons of action.
And I mean, it has that, like you said, the spy. When you watch that one again, like it has its own aura, its own feel of that, shit going down behind the scenes and the spy and this and that and the little music and sounds that come out when Winter Soldier's popping out. Like, I mean, they nailed it. And yeah, if this kind of gives you a reminiscent of that little feel, then yeah, I think they're on with a hit with this one.
So Club VP is in the chat right now. Steve, he's talking about release the Snyder Cut. I would love to see the Snyder Cut. I would love to see it, just because, for all the reasons, whatever. But what's crazy was I saw a picture of somebody took a picture of a pamphlet that was going around San Diego Comic-Con. I know this is off the subject, and people have there's like an actual committee out there of people that are. They're using a suicide prevention like awareness group, and they're raising money, and they've raised something like $70,000 already to like give to Zack Snyder to release the Snyder Cut. That's fucking crazy. Like, that is legitimately crazy. That people are out there raising that much money for that. Whatever. I just had to say that. There you go. There's our due diligence. Release the Snyder Cut. Anyways, back to Marvel. So Eternals. So we got an awesome gritty spy movie, and then we have the Eternals coming up.
That's the next movie, but Falcon and Winter Soldier would be next.
Oh, so Falcon and Winter Soldier. So let's talk about this. So Disney decided we were smart enough to wait out everyone else and let everyone else do their streaming services. Now we're going to do Disney Plus. We're going to rope you in for what, $6.99 a month or something cheap, and then we're going to drop 5 shows that you have to watch in order to be in the know for the Phase 4.
Yes.
How do you feel about that, James?
So I think it's been a while since I've been on here, but I made it pretty clear that everyone knew that I'm not big on the streaming services and having to buy all the different ones and everything. And especially because I already know that I have to get this one because I know that these assholes are going to put it's not going to be, I mean, besides the fact that they included in phase 4, it's going to have things that if you don't watch the show, you're going to miss. You're not going to understand. And I'm sure that they'll do it to where it's not like big things, but maybe you'll miss a joke, or you'll miss an Easter egg, or you'll miss a reference or a callback to something that happened in one of the shows. And you'll just be like, God damn it, like I really gotta freaking watch this shit now. So, and it's got to be good, but I mean, I'm gonna have faith in them that they're gonna do it right. I mean, obviously, it's not like it's getting recasted with people, so it's the same people just continuing on in TV shows, and so I'll have to sign up for it, just like millions of other people are gonna have to do, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, see, I mean, I got to imagine if they're putting this much emphasis on, you know, like they tried to do this with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The earlier seasons, they made direct references to the movies. I don't think they still do that anymore. I think they kind of just fell off. It didn't work. They went their own way, whatever. But they are making, obviously, a hard push. I mean, at one of the biggest announcements, you know, probably in Marvel's, you know, the at least Marvel Studios history, you know, the whole the beginning of phase 4, and they put these TV shows in there. I got to imagine that there's going to be quite a bit they put behind them, you know, whether it's money or production value. I don't think they're going to drop the ball on these. My immediate guess is they're going to be shorter in episodes, you know, like 10 or less per season, and they're going to be like super just like
Story.
Yeah, just like have a ton in them, just be packed. Because like you said, like you don't want to miss out. What if they said like the first mutant, or like what if like somebody from the Fantastic Four or the X-Men pops up in one of these shows down the line? Like I would like, yeah, you're not gonna miss that.
And you gotta imagine that they've done their work as far as like every business is about making money, and this has to make money. And so you got to imagine, so they make these movies and they put a lot into the actors and the CGI and all that type of stuff. It costs a lot of money to make these movies, but then they all go out and they make $1 billion. So obviously it pays off. How lucrative are these streaming services? I mean, are they really, so are they going to have to cut back somewhere? And if they do, where are they going to cut back? Or does it really cost that much less to make them? Or, you know what I mean? So,
well, I got to imagine they got to be pretty. I mean, so wasn't like, so Game of Thrones was like the most spent on a per episode for any TV show or something like that.
Yeah,
it was like for the last season or whatever, and it was like, but it was only like $1 million an episode, right? I think so. It was something along those lines. So, they're spending a lot of money on these movies. I have to imagine the amount of content they're going to release on Disney Plus, the audience that they're going to grab with it. If it takes off the way they expect it to, I mean, they'll probably make a killing. And even if they don't, it's fucking Disney. So like, I mean,
and I imagine they're gonna pull everything. They're gonna pull their library from everywhere. So if you want to watch something Disney, you have to come here. Period.
Oh well, right. Yeah. Well, they're waiting for all their contracts to terminate with Netflix and all these anywhere else they may be, and they have Hulu, so Hulu will have the stuff that won't be on Disney Plus, the the more adult stuff or whatever it may be, but yeah, I don't think they're going to lose out anyway on this. I think you have 10 years of you have 10 years of non-comic book fans, right? That you've just made comic book fans, or at least Marvel fans. And so, and those people have consumed all these shows and everything else. So they're probably going to buy the streaming service. And then you have all of us who will definitely buy it no matter what. And complain about it all day long. And then you're gonna have the people who are just like don't care about it, but then there's like all of the Disney TV shows for kids and shit like that. They're gonna buy that. So, anyways, so instead of so moving on from Disney Plus, but I just wanted to say for Winter Soldier, Baron Zemo's back, and I'm stoked about that because another awesome villain who, although he was amazing, you know, he was good in the small parts he had in Winter Soldier and stuff like that. It was Fleet. It was. I wanted more from him because he's just such a major big bad for you know, for some of those characters.
Yeah.
So
excited to see him back. And I saw something that says he'll get the you know, the OG costume with the mask and all that, and
that's awesome.
That'll be badass. And then we'll see Falcon as Cap, which will be pretty cool to see where they go with that, and the two of them together. So yeah, no, that one's definitely exciting. If I look at the shows, for me, that's the one I'm probably most excited for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, actually, okay, live action, because there's an animated one that we'll get into later. But live action, that's
I already know what it is.
For.
What
I mean, there's only one.
But and I agree with you. Yeah, awesome. So, so what do we have next? Is it Eternals next? I think, right?
Yep.
So again, so this is something we knew was coming. You know, we've known Angelina Jolie and Selma Hayek recently. We've known a bunch of, you know, Kamal Nanjiani and a bunch of other big superstar names attached to this. It's crazy the amount of names. But
I think you'd see in these type of movies, you know,
well,
Selma Hayek and Angelina Jolie.
When you're bringing in gods, I guess it's almost kind of like it's almost fits that you see like these big kind of for lack of a better term, you know, in the, you know, they're megastars. You know, these people are they're just they're next level. I mean, not all of them. Obviously, Angelina Jolie and Selma Hayek are really the only two.
The big names.
The big names. But still, I mean,
the other guys are recognizable. The rest of them are people I know I've seen from other stuff. I don't know his name, but there's the Asian guy. I know him from this movie on Netflix, Train to Busan, which was a badass zombie movie that they made over in like Korea. And he played like this character that was he was badass. Like he fought, like he was the tough guy that fought all the zombies and had to fight them all off. And so he was pretty badass in that one. So I was kind of, when I saw him, I was like, oh shit, all right, cool. I like that guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that you know, I think a lot of this was it's there's so much room for them to do whatever they want with the Eternals because nobody knows anything about it. And then, you know, I feel like they're setting the Eternals up to be, if it is what it is in the book, like it's only going to lead into the Celestials. Again, I'm like you. I know of the Eternals. I know. I read a bunch about them. I read like the first 2 issues ever when this was first announced, and I don't really know too much about them, but I know the Kirby artwork's gorgeous. But you know, I feel like they're going to lead into the Celestials. This is going to be like an introduction into cosmic Marvel universe, and God, I hope Adam Warlock comes up somewhere, and I don't know if it's here. I don't know if it's in Thor. I don't know where it is, but
Guardians 3 years from now.
Yeah, Guardians. It probably is where it is. It wouldn't make sense in the Eternals, but I keep going back to thinking about, like, you think about how much they told you. Just think about how much we don't know. Like, there's going to be so much shit. Like, we could get like Reed Richards popping out of some wormhole in the Eternals for all we know. Like, I don't know. That's who knows. Yeah, outside of that, I mean, like I said, I don't know much about the Eternals. Looks like a great
either,
cast.
but I mean, we're not alone though. I know most people don't.
I mean, if Guardians has anything to say about it, then
Exactly.
shit, it should be a great fucking movie.
I mean, it'll be Guardians, but maybe even bigger. Because I mean, from what I did like read up on them, I mean, they've got like powers, quote unquote, like powers and all that type of stuff. So I mean, they're gonna do some shit pretty badass.
Oh yeah, they're gods. I mean, like there's a lot like there's the other side of the Eternals. Like the evil side is like the deviants, and like one of the head deviants is Thanos' father. Like all this stuff. Like I mean, this is all huge in the deep lore of it. Like when you really get into it, Eros is going to be in there, which is well, theoretically Eros might be around in there, which would be Thanos' brother. I mean, there's so much that goes down in that, but it's definitely going to be a big part. So I'm stoked. So that's November. So you got May, and then you got a show coming out in fall, and then theoretically, if Falcon Winter Soldier is coming out in fall, Eternals is in November. That there's going to be some overlap there. And then you have nothing for the holiday season. And then we got February 12th, 2021. You got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So, again, a character I know nothing about.
Nope.
Read
but I know
anything about.
People who are excited for it.
Yes.
Though. Man.
But not my part of the Marvel Universe, really, that I focus on. I've only come over the character in passing, but just based off of everything I've heard from friends and what I've seen, I'm stoked.
Yeah, I know that we're supposed to get so we'll get the real Mandarin as the villain, and they'll fix the whole Iron Man 3 debacle. If I think the good thing about this one though is especially like you look at some of the cast and everything, and they're taking it very seriously for the culture that they're trying to portray and everything like that. And so I gotta imagine, I mean, they're gonna go as they do with everything else. They're gonna do this right. It's gonna be, for example, you have Iron Fist from fucking Netflix, which was the martial arts and everything like that, and then they went and did awful fight scenes and all that type of stuff, and that was what everyone's big complaint is. We're not going to have that problem with this one. This is going to be like legit fucking crazy ass, the whole martial arts world and everything like that, and they're going to do it right, and it's going to be, I would say this one's probably going to be like I don't know if a sleeper pick's the right word, because I still know that there's so many people who are excited for it, but I think this is one that's going to surprise a lot of us who don't know anything about the characters.
Yeah. This is that movie that, I agree with all the martial arts, all the action you'll probably see in this movie. There's a lot of mysticism, mysticism around the character as well, and you'll see. This is going to be a movie that will definitely reach out to people who don't care about comic books. It's like it's going to be a badass kung fu movie with tons of action and wizards and such. I think probably as well. But it's definitely good. The casting is spot on. With what's the guy's name is Simi Liu, I believe.
Yeah, and it was funny because someone, I think it was Juan, Ink Jedi, posted it, and then like I looked up the dude's name, and I don't know if it was my only, but I mean I don't know, maybe if we Googled him now it'd be the same thing. But I typed in the dude's name and didn't get anything. I got nothing on there, and I was like, is that a person or like who is this? And then I looked it up on IMDb and I couldn't find nothing. And then I finally found his Twitter and his Instagram and stuff. But I mean, I don't know anything about the guy, but I saw a tweet that he tweeted like a long ass time ago where he reached out to Marvel.
Yes,
and now it came true.
Yeah, I saw that as well. So yeah, I don't know what he's from. I have no idea about the actor. But apparently he's a badass. He's super I mean, he's looks like somebody who's been studying kung fu for a long time. The guy's jacked. I mean, he's like looks like Bruce Lee basically. So he should be perfect, spot on.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. Then we got a long wait till the next one.
And then so you got February, and then you've got so again, no real release date for the shows. They're just doing seasonal is what they're so spring 2021. Now see, so it says here spring 2021 for WandaVision and Loki at the same time.
Yeah.
So, you can imagine that those might come out. But so WandaVision sounds like there's they're putting some big hype into there. That it's going to be all it's all obviously pre-Endgame because it's still got Vision. But I don't really know much about the show. I
didn't see any announcements for it other than that it's a show. Other than that it's happening.
So what I think, right? So there is all the stuff that's going to be in. There's WandaVision happening. There's Loki happening, and then May 7th you have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is going to be insane, probably in my opinion. I think that's probably the one I'm most excited for. The announcement I'm most excited for. But Scarlet Witch is going to be in that movie. So it would serve a purpose if they had this show that dove really deep into Wanda's character, really brought out who the Scarlet Witch is, and kind of really showed you who she is, and then came out with that movie, and now you have this, fucking badass Sorcerer Supreme and the, basically the queen of the dark arts, Scarlet Witch, coming out in what's supposed to be Marvel's first horror movie, which is what they said. So I think these are all going to tie in. Either way, Wanda and Vision, both in the comic books and in the movies, are characters I love. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And then so Doctor Strange is supposed to be the first Marvel horror movie, supposedly. Cool. So that should be cool. I guess, does that mean it's rated R? I'm not really sure, but I would imagine.
So on my Instagram, I get, you hit the little button and you get all these pages that like post shit. Yeah. I don't know about for you guys, but I know for me, like 90% of them are all in Spanish, so I have to get my translator on. But I saw one that was that mentioned Nightmare as possibly, well, like I said, if my Spanish is correct, that he could be a possible villain in it, which would be pretty cool. So in the Doctor Strange movie, I mean.
Yeah, right.
So him appearing in that one, and that would definitely, go to the whole horror type genre, if you will.
Yeah.
He'd be the perfect villain for it.
See, I was that would work out well. And I was trying to think of anyone that could potentially have some type of tie to Wanda. And I really couldn't come up with much, but in doing so, I was thinking about, wouldn't it be awesome if we got some like Mephisto in this, and maybe that's like, because he's a great character. I love Mephisto, and that's kind of where I was leaning. But Nightmare would definitely would be a good fit.
Yeah, and I think you could still see. I mean, with the name like Multiverse of Madness, that leads me to believe that they're going to do there's going to be a few people that would pop up, right? I mean, a name like that's kind of big.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think this has to be. I got to imagine that this has to be one of the bigger movies that's coming out. Um, it seems like to me the way they're setting up everything that they're moving towards this bigger, or they I think they make it look like they're going through this big galactic, cosmic universe that they're expanding to, and I think they are going to do that. But I think what people are losing sight of is there's still all this entire side of the magic stuff that they have, and I think they're going to use that as well. And I think you're going to see the two of them really combine. You're going to see all the Eternals and Celestials and the cosmic stuff, and then you're going to see Doctor Strange and Wanda and all the dark arts, all the magic, and it's just going to all come together, which would make it great if it was something like the Ultimates or something. So I don't know, but it looks like Doctor Strange is definitely going to be a big part of the next couple phases at least.
So I'm reading up on this one
Yeah.
because I'm curious now about it. So one of the articles that I'm reading, and I mean, obviously with all this stuff, you don't know how true any of this stuff is, but I guess they talked to the director, which is Scott Derrickson, and he said what you said, that it would be the first scary MCU movie, and that prior to doing Marvel, he directed horror movies like Sinister, which I literally just posted on my Instagram the other day, because that's one of my favorite modern horror movies. I fucking love that movie, and I think it was done incredibly. So knowing now that this is the same guy definitely has me excited. They also do mention that the events of WandaVision TV will tie into the movie.
Oh, perfect.
And then that him and Wong will be in it, of course, and that they do look to introduce Nightmare as one of the villains to tie in the horror theme. So pretty much that's
there you go.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's all the speculation you need right there.
There you go. Boom. Done.
Boom, boom. Um, so, and then I mean, there's also Loki.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know too much about the show. I'm not sure what to expect from it. I don't really know what. There didn't seem to be too much information out there.
The
Other than
only thing that I saw was that it's after how he escaped in Endgame, but that's it. Yeah, so like in Endgame, they go back in time and then they drop the cube and he takes and he books it.
Yeah.
That it's supposed to be
right then.
Yeah, it's supposed to be him after.
Perfect. That's good.
That's all. That's literally all I saw on it. So.
Yeah, it's not something I mean, I feel like these shows are going to be things that are not going to be super groundbreaking, but they're just going to be. They have the potential to be fun, and they're just going to lead into the movies. Is what I get. I mean, if you really, the more I look at it now, like you've got WandaVision into the Doctor Strange, you've got Loki, then directly into the Thor movie. So you're maybe going to have some like bits that are going to be dropped off from the shows for the movies. But so that's also in spring. So you've got a May release of a movie of Doctor Strange, and then summer, you got nothing all summer except for the animated release of Marvel's What If. That will go to the Disney Plus as well. I think we're both similarly super stoked about this, right?
Yeah. This one's going to be, because it's going to do exactly what the comics allows them to do, and it just allows them to tell all the crazy stories and all the things we want to see. And I'd have to, I don't know if they've if they've like announced like which ones they're doing, but I would think we're maybe get like some animated versions of some of the old ones. And then maybe we get a couple new ideas would be a cool way to do it, I think.
So I know what they did. They confirmed that there's going to be a lot of the actors coming back to reprise their roles. So including like actors who are not in the movies anymore. So potentially like you might get, I don't know, maybe you get Chris Evans or Robert Downey Jr. or whoever.
The Peggy Carter one, I think, was something I kept seeing.
Yeah, so one of the ones they said that they were going to talk. This was a while ago. They said that they were going to do the what if Peggy Carter was Captain America, or what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum. Yeah. So that's all like. So I would imagine they bring that actress back from from Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Peggy Carter series. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a bunch of one shots, whatever they are, 45-minute, or half hour long, 45-minute one shots. But I would imagine that they're going to have a lot of the cinematic universe rolled into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a what if, so it doesn't matter what happens. It's just a fun exercise in comic books, really. So I'm stoked about that.
Now, so I was seeing that some stuff on the fact that it would be animated. Now, do we know if it's going to be like, is it half and half, or if
No,
it is?
It's animated. It's 100% animated.
So they would just come back as the voice, basically.
Yeah, they'd be the voice actors, right? Yeah, right.
Got it. Yeah.
Which I mean, like, if you look at, if you watch any of the, like any of the Avengers TV shows or stuff like that, like the animated TV shows, the cartoons for kids and stuff, they pretty much do their best to mimic the voices of the movie stars already. So I think that, like, if you get something with like, with Iron Man in it, and you actually have Robert Downey Jr. there actually voicing the character, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, people will lose their shit.
And I mean, the animated thing's awesome because they can do all these crazy stories, one after another, after another, after another. They could do 10, they could do 15, they could do 20 of them, and they could do whatever they want in it, and that's what makes it crazy, because it makes it awesome about the animated part.
Well, and you could introduce a ton of cosmic and space stuff without the limitations of filming it. Now you just throw that shit on animation, and boom, you get all these crazy and space and cosmic stories.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is going to be. I mean, this is one of the things I'm so stoked about. I love What If, and there's something almost refreshing to like watch or read something where you don't have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where like you can just sit back and be like, oh, it doesn't matter what happens in this one shot or in this issue or in this TV show, because it's just fun, and like you can enjoy it more,
or even better is especially if they introduce like news stories that we have no idea where it's going. So it's not like how you watch these movies. I'll give the example of Spider-Man, how we talked about on the Drunk Cast, is that we all knew exactly how that movie was going to play out, and it was still entertaining, but exactly how it goes. And a lot of these movies, those of us who know what we're watching and read the comics and all that, we know where all this is going. So this What If would give us the chance to almost sit back as if nothing, and because you're not going to know where they're going to go with this route, and we'll get surprised just like everyone else.
Yeah.
And that will be fun. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So moving past What If, again, another show we have coming out right after that, in fall of 2021 is going to be Hawkeye, in which they confirmed Kate Bishop, which is not a character I particularly care about. Either of them, Hawkeye or Kate Bishop, really. I've never really cared much either way, but the MCU has definitely made me like Hawkeye, or maybe Jeremy Renner has made me like Hawkeye. I'm not really sure, but it's another TV show, and what I was particularly excited about was they said they will explore his time as Ronin in this show. So that could be awesome. You know.
Well, if I'm clear on this, I believe he's Ronin, and then that's basically he's done with Hawkeye, and that's how Kate Bishop becomes the name Hawkeye, anyways.
Right. So this is. Oh, okay. So this
I believe
is.
because I've only read the only Hawkeye I've read is I read the one that this I'm gonna assume is gonna kind of be based off of, which is the Matt Fraction
The
run.
Fraction,
Yeah, and which is where he's not really Hawkeye, she's Hawkeye.
Yeah, right.
And so that's what I'm just assuming is how this goes. Is he'll be Ronin so that she becomes Hawkeye, and then it's gonna be more on her.
I guess I never really thought about it at the end of Endgame, but it's not like he said, "Oh, I'm Hawkeye again." He's still Ronin, so I guess that makes sense. You know, like so this could still be, even though it's exploring his time as Ronin. He could still be. It could be post Endgame, although I gotta feel like a lot of these shows are all, well, except for Falcon and Winter Soldier, so that would make sense. Yeah, I guess it really, who knows where it's going to fall in, but either way, seeing that character explored as Ronin, it's going to lend itself to being something fantastic. I mean, it's a badass character.
It would be because, like, I mean, that little part he gets in Endgame, like, even though all you get to hear is the gunshots and everything, like, you just know that inside that building is some straight up John Wick type shit going down.
Absolutely. Yes.
So if we actually get to see what the inside of that building looked like, that would be cool. Because he was definitely badass in that. So I mean, it'll be interesting, and then again, it allows them to introduce the Kate Bishop character and kind of keep that going. And I know that then that kind of I know that gets everyone speculating on the whole Young Avengers. Is that where they're headed, or so we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So earlier, I held back because I didn't want to say it. You had made a comment. You said no. It was, you said the most exciting announcement or something along those lines, and I wanted to ask you, well, which one is that? But as far as the internet goes right now, the most exciting announcement is the next one, Thor, Love and Thunder. Is that what you were referring to, or were you referring to something else? Okay.
I was referring to the one that came after.
Okay, good. Because I was thinking about that as well. So right before SDCC, we knew that Waititi came out and said that he's going to be doing a Thor 4. And that's exciting. Like, I'm super stoked. I love the Thor character. I think that he's really grown on me. The first two movies I think were okay. Ragnarok was awesome. Him in Infinity War and Endgame was awesome. And I'm stoked that he's going to be a part of Phase 4. But the biggest news is not that. The biggest news is that we're going to get Jane Foster as Thor, directly out of Jason Aaron's run, heavily influenced by Jason Aaron's run. How do you feel about that? I think it's awesome. I mean, no, I honestly, like, I don't. I think Natalie Portman's an awesome actress. Yeah. I think she's she was not utilized very well in these movies. Like, she's such a great actress, and that character Jane Foster for Thor is such a important piece of his of who he is. And I'm stoked about this. I think it makes a ton of sense. I just kind of expected that Valkyrie was going to get the hammer, after everything that happened. I just really didn't think that they were gonna.
She's king of Asgard now.
Yeah, she is the king. Yeah, I mean, so, I guess I wasn't expecting them to take a character who really hasn't meant anything in the in the MCU, and then give them, Mjolnir, one of the most powerful weapons in all of the MCU. It's crazy to me because I feel like they have a lot to do in one movie where she becomes Thor. That's kind of what I just don't understand. Like, you walk in there and you say Valkyrie is the next Thor, makes sense, perfect. Like, that makes 100% sense. You know the character, she's built up, she's got, she's already in some of the movies, like in a substantial role, and she makes sense. She's from Asgard, all these other things. But to somebody who has never read Jason Aaron's run, you're just going to take somebody random and they're going to grab the hammer. How's that going to happen? Like, there's going to be a lot they got to build up to that. Or maybe it's as simple as Cap, and she just picks it up and says, "I'm Thor."
I read right when she got it, and I have the first 3 issues. But I'll be honest, I don't remember anything of how she got it. But I think that I agree with what you said, that there is a lot for them to have to handle in this movie. I will say it's exciting in this. It's good and it's bad. It's bad in the sense of man, fucking Thor has really just become one of the best characters in these movies, and I think we're gonna see a lot less of him, which I don't think I'm ready for yet. Just for that reason, because he's grown so much. Like Captain America, we all knew that was coming, and he's had, arguably the best trilogy on his own. So, I mean, we already saw a lot of him, and he was always at his peak. Same thing with Iron Man. He's always, he upgrades his suits, and he's gotten really, really better with the suits and the upgrades and what he can do with them and everything like that. Like Infinity War, that suit was badass that he was able to take on Thanos. And it was so, but with Thor, though, I mean, we're talking a completely new person with new characters or new abilities and powers, and just so it's man, now we're gonna lose all that. We just saw all this badassness coming from him, and now we'll lose it and we'll get her. But I will say I agree that she's a great actress. I think it'll be cool to see them quote unquote transform her. I mean, she's gonna have to get jacked, kind of like Gal Gadot did for Wonder Woman, and just kind of put on some muscle for sure. So
she's she's tiny, dude.
She's small. She's
a small human being. Yeah.
So I think I saw one where she commented, and I don't know if it was real, but it was a Twitter picture of her holding it, and she was like, make sure you guys use this as my before picture for once I get jacked and everything coming for the movie. And so I mean, yeah, she's got some work to do. But I did see this was one of the only ones that I watched on YouTube, not the whole panel, but the introduction of her. And it was basically, the director was they were asking questions, and they asked Valkyrie about, what are you going to do in Asgard? And she said, well, as king now, I need to find a queen.
Right.
So, I mean, you might deal with, a love story with her on the side, which just goes back to your point of handling a whole lot of stuff in one movie. But we'll have a love story with her possibly, or that was just an offhanded comment, because he said that they don't know the script. He made a comment that he made a joking comment of they don't know the script, I do, and so I don't think that they have any idea where it's going yet. But then he said that when he was doing Thor Ragnarok, he said, I was reading a Thor book by Jason Aaron, and it took over, and there was a new Thor, and who better than who we already have. And it was just a really cool introduction that he did for her. And then he announces her, and she comes on stage, and everyone goes fucking crazy. But then the YouTube cuts off for copyright reasons, so you don't get to hear the crowd. But you could just imagine that they went ape shit. Yeah. She comes out and picks up the hammer, and so I mean, it was a pretty cool moment to see all that, and it means a lot to them. And I'm sure for her too, because I'm sure she got on board, and then she was gone, and then now she's oh shit, now I'm gonna go, now I'm a big ass character all of a sudden. I go from small time to big time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, when was the last movie she was in? Was Thor 2?
Would have been Thor 2 before Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't even in Ragnarok.
Mm-mm.
So she's only been in 2 movies in the MCU.
Oh.
Thor 1 and Thor 2, right? And yeah, now she's going to be potentially like one of the biggest characters, which is, I mean, it also just speaks to like how awesome, Kevin Feige and everybody at Marvel really is, because like they have a lot to do in a year and a half, and I trust that they'll get it done. And I think it's smart. I think they like you said, that they're a business, and I think they made a lot of businesses decisions on that stage last night. They really pushed a lot of inclusionary announcements, and I think they did that purposely, which is smart on their end. It'll help them to gather a new audience and everything else. But I'm just stoked that, like, above all that, like, I'm stoked that they're paying attention to the comics.
Yeah.
Like, and like, actually, like the fact that, I know there's not a ton of Thor comics, like, in regard to, like, if you put it next to like Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, Fantastic Four, any of these other big, Superman, obviously, Thor. I mean, how many? They're not. They're not up in the 800s plus like some of these other things are. So there's not that much going out there, and I think it's a pretty well agreed upon thing that Jason Aaron's run on Thor since he's started is
It's like the run.
Probably the best run.
Yeah.
And we all know the Walt Simonson stuff and everything that he did for Thor, but nothing as groundbreaking as this. And the fact that the creators are reading and paying attention to the comic books and bringing in all this stuff is really awesome. And I think you're seeing a rash of that. I think you're seeing a rash of creators looking at the more recent content and using it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, because you could make the argument that as far as like really, really great stories go, and being able to read these stories, it is the more modern time. They're easier to read. They're I don't know if better is the right word, but they're just like, so for me, I'm an omnibus collector and reader, and I talk to a lot of fellow omnibus collectors and readers, and we all pretty much say the same thing, that like, you could hand me a brand new Spider-Man one that covers a new Spider-Man story, and I can knock it out in a couple days. And then you hand me the volume number 1, and it's a chore, and it takes a long time to get through those old school stories. And it's not that they're not big and they don't have their big moments, but just the way that it was written then compared to now, and just so nowadays stories are definitely more easier to read and go over, and they're epic in their own way.
I mean, the language alone they were using back then was totally different. It's everything about it. I'm stoked about it. It'll be good. I have faith. I mean, there's really not much I don't think that Marvel can do right now.
No, I mean they have to prove us wrong, and prove us wrong multiple times before we all give up on them. So I think we're good. So then after that was the big one. Well,
the big one, in my opinion. Yeah, man.
No, it was. It definitely was.
And
also because it was completely unknown. I mean, I didn't see shit on this at all. Not from anybody. Not from the people with the sources. Like I said, those Instagram pages that I follow, they tend to get some news pretty early. And I mean, this was like, there was nothing on this. This shit was either done in secret a long time ago, or they hired his ass that morning, and so nobody knew. I mean, one of the two. Because I mean, so you got Mahershala Ali as Blade, which I think is great, and I know a lot of people do, and I know a lot of people didn't want Wesley Snipes ever replaced, and we can get into all that, but I mean, I think it's a great choice, and I like the guy. I mean, what I've seen him in, he's an awesome ass actor. So he's good. I'm good with it, and I'm excited. And then where they go with that, I mean, is that?
Yeah.
I just remembered right now that we're still supposed to get a Morbius movie.
Well, so maybe is that where they go?
Oh, that's Sony. That's right. It's
That's
Sony.
Sony. Yeah.
Yeah. Jared
That's
Leto
the whole. Yeah, that's the whole Spider-Man Venom universe thing over there that they're doing.
Yeah.
So I guess the big thing that we don't know about. I mean, so I'm stoked about Blade. I love Blade. The original, the first two Blade movies are just phenomenal. They're some of the best. I mean, it's just back in the day before anyone was really doing comic book movies like that. It was something that wasn't Batman, Superman, X-Men, Spider-Man. It was off the mainstream. It was great. I'm super stoked to have it back, but like, where do they go with it? If I guess it really doesn't matter with Sony, but where does he fit in the Marvel MCU right now? Where I would say 6 months ago, I would say, oh, he fits in on Netflix, with all that stuff. But I don't know where you get how Blade is going to start to fit in with the potential for mutants and Fantastic Four and Eternals and Celestials and all this stuff. But that just speaks to the character because I mean he's badass. He's. I don't know.
Maybe Doctor Strange in the multiverse opens up a dimension to the vampire world.
Perfect. Let's do it. They open up a dimension to the Sony world that are.
So I saw this, and this is one that I never got confirmed or not. But I remember I was seeing rumors that like if Spider-Man Far From Home didn't hit $1 billion, it had to go back to Sony or something. And I was like, oh shit, that would suck.
So I mean, Sony, So I mean, they pretty much set themselves up for either way they're going to make out, right? So here we'll hand you everything, do all the work, hopefully build us a. Either way, like Tom Holland, that universe has built such a following. Tom Holland alone, he's just. I mean, God, he's the best Spider-Man. I mean, that's just goes without saying. That's my opinion, but. Yeah, who knows? I think that's the aspect of this whole thing that you don't know. Like, if Spider-Man is ripped away from them and it goes back to Sony and we don't ever see it again, or at least for another couple of years or whatever, I think that Marvel understands that potentially could happen, and that's why that's why they may be holding off. They have this one movie. I think they have one more movie, right?
With who?
With I think Sony gave them the rights for one more movie. I thought it was 3 movies, unless Endgame.
I was seeing some shit on like people were talking about how like he's supposed to have like a triple trilogy, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah.
I know that was a rumor where like he'd have him in high school, and then he'd have a trilogy of him in college, and then a trilogy of him as an adult. And I was like, what the fuck? That's a lot of fucking movies. That'd be crazy.
That'd be awesome.
It would be because we never get that shit because it always keeps getting rebooted. So you never see him at his peak. And I was talking to somebody about that. Like, you go to like I'm playing the Spider-Man game right now, finally after hella long. And I mean, yeah, he's badass in that game, and he's an adult, and he's got all his powers down. And you look at the Miles Morales, the Edge of Spider-Verse, and when Miles Morales meets that Peter Parker and the shit that he does, and like he's by himself, taking out all these villains, and it's just like we never get the perfect, Spider-Man's been doing this for 20 years. He's perfected it, Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a classic argument about things. People have been reading Spider-Man forever. Like, I definitely agree. I mean, I don't. I haven't been reading Spider-Man for 40 years like some people out there. So I couldn't imagine that, but 40 years of a teenager, but I think Spider-Man needs to change, and any character needs to change and evolve and grow and storylines. But Tom Holland is hitting it right on the nail on the head. He's a perfect Spider-Man, the teenage Spider-Man. I love it right now. I'm totally okay with him aging throughout the movies. The Chip Zdarsky run right now on Life Story. Are you reading that? It's phenomenal. It's Spider-Man aging, and it's every decade.
Yep.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either way that they go with it. But I just hope that it all works out, and they get to keep him in there. But yeah, so we don't know much about the Blade movie outside of the fact that there's going to be a Blade movie. Right. Okay.
And then that was pretty much that, because after that it was the announcement of the Fantastic Four and X-Men are coming, but again that's years from now. So
yeah, right.
So, yeah, that was pretty much it for them. Not that it wasn't a lot. Fuck, we've been talking about it for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was obviously the big news from San Diego. There was a DC panel, I believe. I'm not sure what came out of it. I know that we're going to get some Teen Titans season 2 in September. I know that Crisis on Infinite Earths is going to feature a Kingdom Come storyline. I know there's going to be a second season of Doom Patrol.
And then the Brandon Routh or whatever his name is going to be Superman again.
Right.
Right. So yeah, and then other than that, the only thing I saw was some animated stuff. So I wrote down some of the names. Now I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know if these were all San Diego Comic-Con announcements or these were things that people already knew. But Hush is out right now on digital, and then August 6th I think comes out for purchase. So that one I'm excited for. And then there's a Harley Quinn animated one with the chick from Big Bang. What was it? Haley Cuckoo?
Yeah.
Cuckoo. Robert Lopez, our resident Harley Quinn fan, said that he saw and he thinks it looks really, really good. I saw that there's a Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go. So there will be like a movie where the two of them have to, the young little kid version and the teenager ones meet. An animated Red Sun, which is going to be pretty cool. And then there was one, I don't know the name of it, but it was like Justice League, but it was the Justice League Dark, and it's like Apocalypse War or something like that.
Yeah.
So that one should be pretty good. So yeah, they're cranking out the animateds again, but other than that, I don't think they really announced shit else. No Wonder Woman news.
Yeah. I don't really know anything from DC from this weekend. So, but pretty much everything you said, I'm stoked about that. I'm stoked about the Justice League Dark animated. As far as the animated stuff goes, DC always kills it. So, yeah. Outside of that, there was a bunch of other stuff that went on. As we know, Todd McFarlane had his Spawn 300, 301 panel. I don't know anything about that because I don't really care.
I care, but I didn't even have time to look into it. I know that I saw him on Instagram posting that he came out with these little toys that he was signing. Something about there was like a chance for people to like work on 300. I'm gonna guess you could like do like a little inking on a book or something probably. But yeah, no, he's definitely excited for this release, and he's a busy man because if you follow him on Instagram, he's like going in a car, in a plane, and he's doing all the inking for all the pages while he's on there, and he's just working on this book nonstop.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the black and white statue, the Batman black and white statue, where he's doing that pose with the cape, and that looks badass.
Harlan one, yeah, right, yeah.
And I don't even collect those, but
I'm sure Steve Cohen is very excited.
Oh yeah, he's already got it pre-ordered.
He's got it pre-ordered 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the other big news coming out of it was Jonathan Hickman had his panel. The next big thing, the dawn of X, which I was, to be honest with you, I personally was most interested in initially going into San Diego. I expected that the whole Phase 4 thing was going to be pretty pretty standard, which it was for the most part. I think the stuff we expected, but I was not expecting some of this stuff, news about the X-Men, the amount of books that they're releasing. So real quick, just to catch up for anyone. So Jonathan Hickman is coming back to write the X-Men. You have the Powers of 10 and the House of 10 coming out, which are going to be each 6 issues, and they're going to be alternating weeks. So it's essentially six weekly issues of X-Men, rebooting again the X-Men in the Marvel universe. And but you're in capable hands. You're in Jonathan Hickman's hands. So this is probably one of the most influential writers in modern comic books. Period. His Fantastic Four run is amazing. East of West. A laundry list of stuff that he does. And the big question was, after these 2 series, where do we go? Do we lose Jonathan Hickman? Does he walk out the door? Is it just a big kind of thing to reboot the whole universe and get everyone hyped, and then 6 issues in, Jonathan Hickman doesn't write another X-Men book again? But that doesn't seem to be the case. Hickman said himself at this panel that the president of Marvel came to him and said, "What is it going to take for you to come back?" And he said he wanted X-Men, and he wanted all of it. So apparently, coming after this 12 issue, you have some big books announced. You have X-Men, an ongoing series, X-Men by Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Francis Yu. And they're talking about Cyclops, Wolverine, Rachel Grey. I think they're talking about Havoc and Jean Grey, Marvel Girl, being brought back into it. On top of that book, you also have Jonathan Hickman and Ed Brisson writing New Mutants with classic characters. You have the Marauders coming out with Jerry Duggan, which is huge. You have Falling Angels coming out with Brian Edward Hill, and that's going to feature like Psylocke and X-23 and Cable. So that's huge for me. Those are some of my favorite mutants right there. And then Excalibur is being relaunched as well with Teenie Howard, and you'll have the new Captain Britain, Gambit, Julie, and I think Rogue is in that as well. So a lot. We got 5 X-Men books coming out of this Jonathan Hickman miniseries. That's a lot. That's huge. That could potentially be something substantial. What do you think about that?
It's a lot, and then they also got a lot of big names on it. And I mean, I'm an X-Men fan, not an X-Men collector necessarily. I mean, I have like the Jim Lee stuff and everything, and I've as they've rebooted it over and over and over again, I've picked it up and tried to dabble in it, and then it just always kind of just falls off the list for me. But this one's definitely probably a lot more promising than all the previous ones for sure. And then, like you said, I mean, the big name guys, the Jerry and everything, and so I mean, sounds good. I don't know that I'll be picking them all up. I mean, if I'm sure you are, and that's gonna be a pretty busy pull list for you. But
I don't know that I'm gonna pick all these up. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It depends on how this goes.
How they hold up.
Yeah, well, it depends on how how the next 12 issues of this goes. Like, I love Jonathan Hickman, but it's become a point where it's not necessarily just the writer. I mean, the writer is definitely some of the stuff that hurts it for me. You know, I have to assume if Jonathan Hickman's doing this, he's doing it with no restrictions. That Marvel's going to allow him to do whatever he wants. So that's one thing that's promising. The early kind of pictures I've seen of like Cyclops so far with that helmet and him taking over for Professor X and all this other stuff, I don't know. I'm already skeptical. As somebody who loves X-Men and has been reading it forever, and I mean, I will read it, and I hope that it is something good, but this is a lot. This is just a lot. Like, I just fucking put out Uncanny X-Men. Like, just show me that you put out Uncanny X-Men. I don't even want double shipping on a monthly. Because I don't like double shipping anyway. But on a monthly basis, give me Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Yu on a monthly book, and just do that for a year. Like, just give me that, and then let's talk about everything else. Like, I would love to see New Mutants. I would love to see a good Excalibur book. And the rest of it sounds awesome, but like, I don't know. It seems like they're just setting themselves up for more of the same shit.
For failure again, yep. No, yeah, that's a good point.
So, who knows? We'll see. Either way, we're coming up on an hour and a half here, and I got an early morning myself tomorrow. So I didn't know if there's anything else you had that you wanted to touch on.
No, I mean, we went over the animated and all the movies and everything. I mean, that's pretty much the big news. I haven't really been reading I'm so behind on reading. I did finally get into those Immortal Hulk trades, and
good.
Definitely loving that series. But
we didn't talk about the Eisners.
Oh yeah, shit.
About that, but I mean,
Tom King won it all.
Enough said. Yeah, right. Tom King. I mean, it's pretty crazy though to see Immortal Hulk nominated for Best New Series, or what was it? Best Continuing Series.
Continuing, yeah.
Yeah. Which, that's fucking crazy. Like, I mean, that book is phenomenal, and I love it. I don't know what all the spec hype behind this book is. Like, I get that it's a great book, and it's got. I don't understand why these books are so hot, outside of the fact that the story's amazing. But it's super stoked to see that happened. I think
it was print run. I think it was. So Hulk is another one of those characters that I don't think he sells very well. No one really reads Hulk shit. Yeah. So you have this Hulk book come out, and your stores only ordered a couple. I know mine's did. They only order a couple because they're like, okay, it's another Hulk thing. All of a sudden, it's like, holy shit, this is actually a great story. That right there then booms the supply, and the demand wasn't there yet. The demand was there now, but the supply wasn't there because no one really ordered it. And
I hear you on that, but that doesn't explain why Immortal Hulk #2, the first appearance of Dr. Fry, is a fucking $80 book. I mean,
I think people thought he was going to be like way bigger.
But that book still sells for I guess once those books gets up there, they kind of hover. But they went to weren't they? I mean, Marvel's doing 1 in 25. First of all, Marvel's doing ratio variants for fucking second, third, fourth, fifth printing. So right there, where they're using interior artwork. They're just recycling artwork. Mm-hmm. So whatever. I don't give a fuck. I got to get beyond that because I just, that will drive me crazy. But I mean, the fact that Immortal Hulk is going to, even now that it's blowing up, it's going to, 3 or 4th printings, and you're talking about later issues. We're at issue 20 right now. I think 20 and 21 is about to come out. Yeah. So It's just crazy that it's awesome. It's just crazy. It just doesn't make any sense. I would love to believe that it's because the series is so great. I have to imagine that's 70% of the people buying this book. But man, if you're out there buying this book because it's a good story and you're spending $70 on it, just go. Don't do that.
You could do what I did and
just go to Comixology.
Get the trade off InStockTrades.com. That's what I did. Shit.
Yeah, go to InStockTrades.com, buy the trades, half off. Yeah. Do that.
But yeah, so I mean, Eisner was pretty much Tom King for Mr. Miracle. Same thing with the art, Mitch Gerard's. The one best new series, I know that our man Greg really wanted Bitterroot.
Yeah. Which is
the winner. It is.
Book. Yeah.
But Gideon Falls is what won, and I think I'm only like a couple issues behind on that, and I love that one, so I can't complain about that one winning.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say outside of, personally,
and they were all image too.
Yeah,
all the best series were image.
Every single series nominated was an image. Isola was on there as well, which was I think they got 3 nominations this year, which was an amazing book. The art is just phenomenal. But Jeff Lemire is God. Right now, Jeff Lemire is the best writer in comic books. I'm going to stay with that statement. That's me personally. But he's just the stuff he's putting out between Black Hammer and any of the Cape stuff that he's doing. Obviously with Gideon Falls now, just everything he does is absolutely phenomenal. You have some Black Label stuff coming out with him. You've got a Joker book that was just announced. I think he's doing The Question, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And that book definitely deserved it. And I think, I love Tom King. Mr. Miracle deserves every bit of love that it gets. And I don't know if I could make that decision between the two, but for me, Jeff Lemire is definitely the best in comics right now, and if he's not going to clean up, if he didn't clean up this year, I got to imagine next year with all this stuff that's happening, he's going to do pretty well.
Yeah.
And then again, you also have Chip Zdarsky. He was nominated for a few, and his Spectacular Spider-Man 310 won Best Single Issue, which was a great issue if you haven't read that. And he's again blowing up at Marvel right now. He's writing some of the best books. Daredevil is amazing, and his life stories is amazing. So, all right. Well, I think that just about does it. Unless you got anything else, James.
No, I'm pretty much good. Shout out to Dollar Bin Bandit on his baby girl that got announced today.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that right on Instagram. But so shout out to him for that. And that's pretty much it. Next weekend, is it next weekend? I think next weekend is like Stockton Con for us here in NorCal people. So that'll be fun. They got some decent names on, or no, it's the following one. So I'll plug that one next Fiendcast then. So yeah, no, that's all I got.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks for everybody who tuned in. All 5 people watching right now, thanks for hanging in there. We appreciate it. We're gonna do our best to get back on this weekly. James said now that he's back on, he's gonna come every single week, no matter how many people are at his house.
Yeah, I literally have people that, I mean, I don't know if you could probably hear it, but I literally have people here now. I was like, I'm out. I promised my boy Mike he wouldn't be solo.
Good. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Thanks everybody. Yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like we said earlier, subscribe to the page if you haven't. Like for us, shoot us a comment. And then go out there and find us. You know, we're at the Comic Book Fiend Club on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then shoot us a message, ask us a question, let us know what you think.
And look out for all the books. Some of our members are dropping books all over town, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. If you're pay attention to the story, and you know, if you're in one of the towns, we like to drop books so people can get into comics easily, you know, and make it a little bit fun for people. You know, find a random comic book in a hiding spot while you're at the mall or something like that. And yeah, go out, read some comics, and let us know what you think about them. And yeah, I appreciate it. Also, go out there and follow me. I'm I got this on Instagram, and my boy the Comic Raider.
Find me on eBay. Not at that name, but
find him on eBay. He's got some hot. He's got the hot spec books coming out of Phase 4 right now. He's got them all posted.
Oh shit.
Well, I mean that top 10's blowing through the roof right now. We all know that. So
yes, it is.
Well deserved. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining, and we'll see you in a week.
Yep. Later.